Hey, what's happening? Welcome back to the GM. I'm your guy, Boulanger. And up next, we're going to get into what would it take for the Baltimore Ravens to go and attain the wide receiver Mike Evans. If you watched my last video about there's only one receiver that the Baltimore Ravens should go all in for, you found out that that wide receiver was Mike Evans. And I did a comparison between he and DeAndre Hopkins and Julio Jones. And I believe that if the Baltimore Ravens want a number one receiver and a guy who they can count on for at least the next 2 to 3 years, as Lamar Jackson enters his prime, I think it is only one guy out there that could be available. And so that guy is Mike Evans. As Tampa Bay looks to be rebuilding, we know that Tom Brady is a free agent. The OC Byron Leftwich was fired, so it seems like they're shifting down in the Tampa Bay area, and the only thing that would keep them going in the same direction would be a trade for Lamar Jackson. And so, because I don't see that happening, I think that Mike Evans could be available, but we have to determine what would it take to get a Mike Evans? Therefore, we'll understand if Baltimore is even willing to go and do that. So let me show you something and how we can determine if the Baltimore Ravens would even be interested because of what it would take to get Mike Evans. Um, Give me 1 second. Let me get this popped up. You guys know I love to show you what I tell you, and so let me show you this little PowerPoint I want to put up here for you guys. And so I believe we have to take a look at what Buffalo did um, as it pertains to attaining Stephon Diggs. So we know that Stephon Diggs was attained in 2020, and Buffalo gave up 4 picks to get him. Um, According to the transaction that I found, Buffalo gave up a first, a fifth, and a sixth in the 2022 draft the 2020 draft, and then they gave up a fourth round pick in the 2021 draft to acquire Stephon Diggs. And Buffalo received a 2020 seventh round pick in return. So to sum that up, Minnesota sent Stephon Diggs and a seventh round pick to Buffalo in return for a first, a fifth, a sixth of 2020, and a fourth round pick in 2021. So they gave up heavy draft compensation for Stephon Diggs. But as we see, the results on the field seem to be well worth it. I don't believe they would have gotten any quality like they've gotten from Stephon Diggs in the draft if they had maintained those picks. But we have to look at a more recent trade in order to get a closer look at what it might take. So let's go to the Philadelphia Eagles acquiring AJ Brown. And this happened in the 2022 off season, basically on draft night. Um, the Philadelphia Eagles sent a first and a third in the 2022 draft to the Tennessee Titans to acquire AJ Brown. And here again, I believe, man, this is like a steal of a deal for the Philadelphia Eagles. They would not have drafted a wide receiver in the first round or the third round. They couldn't have put those 2 picks together and moved up and got a wide receiver to produce what AJ Brown has produced this past year and what he has done for that Eagles offense and Jalen Hurts. And so we want that kind of result for Lamar Jackson. And so I believe Mike Evans is that guy. But let's break this down a little further, right? So when you look at the differences between the trades, of course, Buffalo got more draft capital. Um, the Eagles got less compensation, but I think the biggest difference is the urgency with which the Eagles pulled the deal off. The Eagles pulled it off on draft night, which means Tennessee didn't have a lot of time to consider and debate and deliberate with other teams. The deal was on the table and they took it. Buffalo actually pulled off that deal uh in well into the off season. So I think that's the biggest difference. They um both teams have made out very well with getting that number one option for their quarterbacks. And so I'm hoping that Baltimore will go all in and get Mike Evans. And so I believe that if you take these two uh, trades and you compare them and you shake it out and see what Baltimore has to do, I think it's going to take to get Mike Evans at least one first round pick and probably something like a sixth round pick. And the reason why I say that is because of the age. Stefon Diggs was 26 when Buffalo acquired him, and AJ Brown was super young at 24 when the Philadelphia Eagles acquired him. That's why I say it was a steal to get a young guy who has the skills that AJ Brown has for a first and a third was a steal of a deal. And so Mike Evans, the biggest difference is he's 29, so he's a little older than Diggs, but significantly older than AJ Brown at the time that I'm talking about this trade going down. But let's see what Mike Evans' contract looks like, so we can kind of see where he would fit in, under the cap and what kind of maneuvering Baltimore will have to do. So if Baltimore gave up their first round pick to get Mike Evans, then what you have to consider is that they're not going to get a wide receiver in the first round, which they would need one, but neither will they get a corner, which I think is what will make Baltimore a little bit hesitant. But let's look. So Mike Evans signed a 5-year, $82 million deal, which means he had a $16 million hit per year, and he had $55 million guaranteed. So so the only thing we want to focus on, I just put the whole contract up here, but we want to focus on is the 2023 season, which his whole cap number will be about 23 million. That's signing bonus, that's base salary, that's roster bonus, and I think that's workout bonus. And then so he would actually be a 1-year rental, but I believe if Baltimore gave up a first round pick to get him, they certainly would not count those voidable years, 2024, and I think 2025 have voidable money on in those years, and so he essentially could be a free agent. But I certainly believe that Mike Evans would be resigned, and so Baltimore, I believe, could acquire him and to get that 2023 cap number a little lower. They could probably do something like offer him a 3-year deal or a 4-year deal, maybe 3 years, uh, something like 52 million, which would come out roughly to about 16.5 million, somewhere in there, or maybe even a 4-year, um, something like a $60 million deal with about 28 to 35 million guaranteed. I believe it would take that to keep him after 2023, but I certainly think that Baltimore should go all in, give up the first round pick, and go ahead and get Mike Evans, and then they can figure out the rest of the roster after that. But imagine with me if you took Mike Evans, put him, I said this in my last video, but if you put Mike Evans at the 1, you got Bateman at the 2, um, and then you put Duvernay in the slot position, which is probably a better fit for him. Then you add Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, and then a running game. Man, what an offense! Teams couldn't stack the box against us anymore. And then the only running Lamar would have to do is if he had to scramble. So listen, let me know whatever you want me to know, man. Tell me what you think about what it would take to get Mike Evans. And maybe in our next video, we'll do some draft compensation, do like a mock trade, something like that, to see what it would take. But listen, let me know what you guys want me to know, man. I appreciate you guys for listening in. If you like this content, hit the like button, hit subscribe. I appreciate you guys. Again, I'm Boulanger. This is the GM, and I'm out.